When we start top left sector here, perfect. Nothing crazy, getting us started here. I obviously have Bama going very far here in this conference, so expect to see them, take care of business like they've been doing all year with one of the best players in the country, in Brandon Miller, absolute dog. I am rolling with the Terps. I've seen a lot of WVU bets. Honestly, not even really a fade the public bet here. I do like WV and the momentum they're coming in with, but I said it before. I think the Terps are going to surprise some people in March, and they're going to win some games away from College Park here in this tournament. And it starts against WV. I'll be on the spreads, and I'll be on them to advance here in the brackets. Unfortunately, I do have College of Charleston getting knocked out here against San Diego State's, our darling absolute wagon this season, especially early on, cashing for us. But I really think the Aztecs defense is going to be just a little bit too strong. For this Charleston team, who really hasn't played many good teams all season. Could be a little bit of a wake-up call there. Unfortunately, not taking Furman here against UVA. I would have loved to fade the Cavaliers, but I do believe in Tony Bennett and what he's building down there. So fading Furman, who is probably the most public mid-major, public dark horse in March Madness. I'm on NC State to take care of business, shoot the lights out against a poor three-point defense in Creighton. I've got Baylor, although this one's been looking at me funny, but as of right now, I do have Baylor. I do think the Gauchos keep this one close, though, and it goes down to the wire. So I wouldn't be betting on the Bears spreads. I like the Utah State Aggies to beat Missouri. They're in the Mountain West, and they're a favorite against a Mizzou team that's been great this season, coming out of nowhere. I'm fading them, and I'm backing the favorites, who's a Mountain West team against an SEC squad. A little crazy there. And I've got Arizona beating Princeton. Shouldn't be many problems there. Alabama, Virginia, Baylor, and Arizona. Those are the teams I have advancing after the second rounds. And then I've got Bama beating UVA. I've got Baylor beating Arizona. And I've got Brandon Miller carrying this Bama team, Nate Oates, this great overall roster, good defense, great offense, into the, what is it, Elite Eight? Final Four? Final Four.
Looks
Elite
like, yeah. So you got them going all the way to the Final Four.
Sure. I got them going all the way to the Final Four to match up with the team we'll talk about here soon down there in Houston. So that's what I got up top left sector, okay? We can go ahead and make some moves here. Go to the East. Awesome. Purdue. They're going to take care of business. Not really worth our time there. But they are going to run into some trouble against Memphis. And I know this is a little bit public too, but I love what I've seen out of Kendrick Davis towards the second half of the season. And that game is going to take place down in Fort Worth, Texas, where Memphis actually just won their conference tournament. So they should feel pretty comfortable going back there. And I think they knock off the Goliath in Purdue there. Matt, I don't know what your thoughts are in that spot.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I got Memphis also coming with them. I did a top players list yesterday, Krabs. Kendrick Davis was right in there, so he made my top 10. I think he's a guy who can take over games, right? I mean, he can kind of get you a bucket whenever. There's a blueprint out on how to be Purdue. Been saying it all season. You take care of Edey. I don't think they have the guard play to keep up here. So I actually do like Memphis a lot in that spot. So I think it's a good look. That's a little bit of an upset there, obviously, but we have the same alignment. Although as we worked on your bracket, you got Vermont there in the Sweet 16. Do I see that right?
You do. Yep, that is a correct sight to see. Yeah, I do have them knocking off Marquette, a team that does not defend the three ball at all, who's going to be coming in a little fat and happy. After winning the Big East. I think Vermont catches them sleeping. Dylan Penn's an absolute dog at the point, and then they've got 5 seniors who play behind him as well. Pretty much all older guys, been around the block. This team's a dynasty now. I love what they built. They shoot the three ball super well. Marquette can't really defend it, so I've got Vermont beating them, and I have Vermont beating Michigan State as well. So that's kind of the biggest upset I've got in this.
Well, you got a lot of upsets here. I mean, how about Montana State over Kansas State? That's a big one.
Yeah.
That a lot of people are probably gonna disagree with. Obviously, it's 14 seed over 3, but that's why we do this. Let's see what else. So I think the Vermont one. I mean, listen, your Sweet 16 out of this bracket are an 8, 5, 6, and 15. That's pretty wild.
Yeah, it's getting weird in the East.
That's for sure.
Weird. It's getting weird.
Although I do think the East definitely has the weakest 1-2 punch, and even 3. With all due respect to Kansas State. I will disagree with you a little bit with Marquette, just because I have Marquette actually going on a run. I have Duke. So we kind of. I mean, I'm going to do my full one tomorrow, but I also have Duke winning this region. I do want to point that out, but I have them faced up against Marquette. So I think that'll be interesting to see. But I like the Memphis Sweet 16 chance because I think you can get away with doing this because even if Purdue wins that, I think Duke beats Purdue. So I don't think it's all that risky. I think Duke has a really favorable path here. Like Crack was just talking about, Oral Roberts is a pretty good team. But I mean, they're nowhere near Duke, right? As a mid-major, and then Tennessee, where you see them, I have Tennessee losing round one. I know a lot of people yesterday were pretty mad. Rocky Top's got a big fan base, Krabs. I don't know if you know that. So they come after you once you start going down on their team. But I think Duke has a favorable. I think Duke. I'll say this. I think Duke has an easier path to the Sweet 16 than Marquette or Purdue. And I know that sounds crazy. They're 5 seed, but I think their path. I think their path is somewhat easy. And also, you got Kentucky there in the Sweet 16. Been a long time, right?
Yeah,
Since they've been
little blue bloods matchup there in the Elite Eight, Duke versus Kentucky. That's going to be epic if we get there.
Yeah.
We can move on. Let's go to the next side of the bracket here, see what we got going on here. Keep your eyes closed when we cross over that champ. We'll get to it in a little bit. All right, Houston, we got them moving on. We've got them winning, good amount of games. I do have Drake beating Miami, upsetting them. Love that short spread the way it's moving. I do think Drake and Tucker DeVries get it done. And then I have them beating Kent State. I also do have Kent State beating Indiana. I don't love this play at this point. Probably my least confident upset I've picked so far just because everybody is taking Kent State here in this spot. But love Sincere Carry in that backcourt for Kent State against an Indiana team that should definitely be more than a 4-point favorite against the Golden Flashes there at Kent State. But I do have Drake beating them in an absolute mid-major battle. Drake versus Kent State. That's epic. I really need to see that. That's must-see TV. And then I have Drake beating them there, but losing to Houston towards the bottom of the brackets. I do have Mississippi State beating Pitt, and I've got them actually knocking off Xavier as well. There's always one team I feel like from these playing games that, wins a game in the second round and gets to, the Sweet 16. I feel like that happens every year. So mine this year will be Mississippi State, hopefully, or maybe Pitt too. I like them as well against Xavier if they get matched up. And then I got A&M. I got Buzz Williams, the blue-collar Aggies, going all the way and beating Houston in the Elite Eight of the Midwest to come out of there and go to the Final Four. That's the highest seed I have going to the Final Four in Houston.
Krabs, this bracket's insane. I'm going to say, this is getting wild. Texas A&M. I have Texas A&M losing in the first round, so that would be insane. I mean, listen, I'm cheering you on, right, as your friend, but this is a crazy bracket. A lot of upsets.
Madness. A lot of upsets. Hey, I said halfway through the season, talked about it a little bit. This is the most even playing field we've seen in recent history in college basketball. So I think this is probably the year to attack some upsets and some underdogs more than normal, I would say.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, this would be absolutely wild.
But yeah, if the Aggies lose to Penn State in the first round, I'm cookied for sure. I'm toast.
Jalen Pickett might have something to say about it, Krabs. His boys are feeling good right now. But no, I think. Listen, you're doing what it is. It's madness. This is just I'm processing all these games. A lot of upsets here. So the only favorites really that you have are the 1, 2, and 3, and then they're dead after that. Houston. You do have Houston going on a little bit of a run, but you have their magic being put out by A&M. Marcus Sasser's status. Do we know that for the first weekend? Somebody just asked, and that's actually a really good point.
Yeah, I haven't seen much. I'll be honest with you. It's college basketball, so
it's hard.
Even though it's a tournament, we still don't really know anything, unfortunately. So if anybody in chat has heard anything, let us know, please. But I haven't really seen much at all.
Any insider information that goes to Houston? The people are going crazy at this bracket, Krabs. I will say that there's a lot of people shook right now. But guys, there's still one more region, so let's get to that.
Sure. And guys, can't pick all chalk. Okay, I'm going for the perfect bracket here. Can't pick all the favorites. All right. A little bit more chalk down here, though. Not really. Kind of. Kansas, I've got them, going pretty far. Arkansas knocking off Illinois. I do have VCU beating St. Mary's as of right now. Another sketchy game. The worst matchup ever for St. Mary's, literally that they could get. Pretty hilarious, honestly. They really do struggle whenever they get pressured with on-ball defense, and that's all VCU really does. They're one of the best on-ball pressure defenses in the country. So good luck there, St. Mary's. I have them losing. I do have Rick Pitino losing to UConn here. I've got the Horned Frogs beating probably Nevada, but we'll see. Either way, I think they take care of those teams. I got the Zags coming out of the bottom of the West brackets, and I got them playing the Broncos in what's going to be an epic, tight game of these two West Coast squads. Once Boise upsets UCLA, pretty crazy upset there, right? And then I got the Zags beating Kansas, even if Bill Self is back, which I do think he's slated to come back this week, which is good. I've got the Zags advancing from the West and going to the Final Four.
Krabs, of all the crazy upsets you've had, I think that UCLA-Boise one might be the craziest, in my opinion.
Yeah, I haven't seen anybody pick that one time.
No, I have not seen UCLA, and I think UCLA is very scary. Now, I have Gonzaga going all the way, so I would like if Boise won because then that kind of gives the Zags an easier path. UCLA is a very good team. Do want to note UCLA without Jalen Clark, best defender, best transition player. Maybe that shows up a little bit here in March. I don't know if it shows up against Boise. I do think UCLA will win that game. I think UCLA will face Gonzaga in what'll be a kind of a classic. I mean, kind of like the one we saw last time. Remember that? The last time those two teams played in March. So, yeah, kind of going over that. Listen, Arkansas is a team I'm high on. I've gone back and forth on them knocking off Kansas. Kansas is so deep. When I first made my bracket on Sunday night, I was doing it. Then I kind of sat down and I watched some games and thought about it and said, I don't think Kansas. I think Kansas minimally will get to a Sweet 16. So probably agree with that. VCU, although they might be a little bit of a trendy first round pick, I'm with you there. I do think they take care of business. UConn, a team that I see a lot of people high on UConn right now, man. I think there's more UConn like in the Elite Eight than there is UConn losing first round, which I'm a little surprised of. I thought Iona might become trendy just because of Rick Pitino and everything there, but I think you said it yesterday too with Sunogo inside. I do think that first round game that's a complete mismatch, but we'll see. You got TCU though, Krabs. That was your squad. It's a tough draw for them. You think with the
tough draw to be matched up against the Zags. They're not ideal, so I do have them losing. I think Drew Timme and Co are just going to prove too much for the Horned Frogs, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think so. All right, can we go to your Final Four? Do we get to see the whole?
Yeah, let's go to Houston.
All right,
let's go to Houston.
Here we go.
Beautiful. Look at this thing. Absolutely epic. We got we got Bama, Duke, A&M, and Gonzaga. How about it? A 1 seed, 7 seed, 5 seed, and a 3 seed. Got to diversify the portfolio there, guys. Not going to be all 1 seeds, unfortunately. So I do have Duke beating Bama, and I have Gonzaga beating Buzz Williams and A&M, and then I have the Zags pulling it out and winning the national championship. Said it a couple weeks ago, Gonzaga's not going to lose a game the rest of the year. I'm sticking by my guns, sticking by my eyeballs, trusting them, watching this team play, grow up in front of my eyes. They are ready to finally do something in March in the year where nobody's expecting it. Gonzaga's finally going to do the damn thing, and Mark Few's going to get a national championship under his belts with Drew Timme being one of the best college basketball players ever. He's going to remind us that this March Madness when he gets a little forgotten with all these stars. He's going to let us all know and remind us that he is one of the best players of all time in college basketball, and he's going to be cutting down the nets.
Krabs, I like this. This is kind of crazy. As chaotic as your poll is, we have the same finals, which will be fun if we get
Let's
there.
Go.
So yeah, I mean that's crazy.
That's epic.
That is epic because we could cheer it on together. Now, what happens in between? A little crazy. Obviously, we have a lot of different. I do not have A&M going to a Final Four. But I do think, man, Duke, favorable matchup out there. Like I said, I think them getting to the Sweet 16, maybe even to the Elite Eight, if Memphis can pull off an upset over Purdue, that they're going to match up well with that. But yeah, no doubt about it. I think it'll be fun here. A 5 and a 3 in a championship game, two well-respected teams, and finally Gonzaga cuts down the nets. I like it. I think this is the year where I've been saying it all year. Gonzaga is underrated for the first time in a long time. I think that's maybe how they like it. Let them fly under the radar. You mentioned Drew Timme. I had him second or third, I think, yesterday in my top 10 players in the tournament. I think he's a guy who can just take over. Obviously, he's had experience. So Gonzaga there, Bama. Listen, I think the only really crazy one here is A&M. I think the other three are very realistic. Bama, pretty good draw, and I mean they've been the best team in college basketball all year, so that's obviously not a hot take. And then I think the A&M. Just we'll see, Krabs. If A&M reaches the Final Four, people owe you a long apology. That's all I'll say based on
100%.
today.